All right, guys, so this is the very first podcast on this channel, the Monkeys channel, of course. And this is my special guest, Luis.
How's it going, Damien?
How you doing, my friend? Tell me something about yourself, because we spoke already before this podcast, and your story is actually pretty interesting. So tell something about yourself. Where are you from? Let's start with this one. Where are you from, my friend?
Like way back, like where, like from the start?
Yeah, like very since the beginning.
Yeah,
since the very beginning.
Since the very beginning. Okay, so I was born in Thailand.
Okay.
After that, we moved to Indonesia. So my parents are actually Indonesian.
Okay.
So we lived in Jakarta for, I believe it was 3 years.
So one of your parents is Indonesian and one of your parents is Thai.
Thai, that's right, yeah.
And then you born in Thailand, lived in Indonesia.
Yep.
Okay.
And then after 3 years, we moved to Texas, so the USA.
That's interesting. Like I said, guys, it's a very interesting story.
So I lived in Texas from, I think I was 3 or 4 years old to about 7.
Okay.
And then from there, I moved up to Toronto, Canada, where I reside now.
All right. So where are you from actually right now?
So now I can say that I'm a citizen of Canada.
Okay.
With roots pretty much all over the world.
So that's a pretty nice cocktail, huh?
Yeah.
And don't forget that your lovely wife was sitting over there and laughing at me.
Behind the scenes, she's just laughing at us.
Yeah, she's from South Korea, right? Yes, so very nice cocktail.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. So
that's cool.
Yep.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for being my very first guest on the podcast. Actually, I feel like I'm your guest because I'm your villa, actually. It's not my studio. I really wanted to create a podcast, but I didn't have a chance yet to create the special podcast studio, guys. So this is like a beginning. I'm very stressed. You stressed as well, no?
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That's why we wearing the sunglasses, to look more cool. You know what I mean?
It is bright out there.
Is it filming? Is it recording? Yeah. Okay. We are in the frame. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. So yeah. So tell me now. So you born in Thailand.
Yeah.
Your one of your parents is Indonesian.
Yeah.
And you raised in Canada, obviously.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me now, why you are in Bali right now? Actually, why Bali?
So
why no other destination?
Well, I guess a little bit biased, right? Because I'm half Indonesian.
Yeah.
I came to Bali many times as a kid. My parents obviously would vacation here. As you can tell, if you've been to Bali, you know that there's a lot of locals that come and visit Bali from the other islands, right? So growing up, we would come here all the time, like at least every 3 to 4 years.
So how many times you've been in Bali so far?
This would be my 6th time.
6th time.
Right? That I can remember. I don't know. Maybe they came before. I don't know. But 6th time. There's just something about Bali that's different. Like living in Canada, our vacation destinations are like Cuba, Dominican Republic.
How far is going from Canada to, I don't know, Cuba or Dominican Republic?
4 hours.
All right. So it's like...
It's like what? From here to... No, Bangkok is 3 hours, right?
Bangkok is like Ho Chi Minh is 4 hours.
Yeah.
Manila is 4 hours.
Or Philippines, yeah. Like I was
or Australia, somewhere in maybe so Sydney is 6 hours, Perth is 3 hours. So,
yeah.
So
like that. I guess Bali, like Cancun, Mexico, Dominican, that would be like our Bali to Aussies, right? But there's just something about Bali that, and again, I'm biased because I've been here so many times. I am Indonesian, but there's something about this place that's just different.
Okay, do you speak Bahasa Indonesia?
I do actually, yeah.
Say something.
Selamat sore.
Okay, that's only what I understand anyways. So it makes sense. I approve this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
just something magical. It's hard to describe, and I try to describe it to my friends because I try to get them to come here too, right? And they say, why can't we just go to Dominican? It looks the same. I said,
it's not the same.
You just have to be here. And then once you're here, and my wife, who's not in the screen, obviously she's not Indonesian.
Yeah.
But I took her here for the first time in 2018, and she's like, this place is something else, right? So
something different.
So she's back, right?
And do you have many friends from Canada who came to Bali actually?
Yes. So ever since I went in 2018 and I took a lot of pictures and everything like that. I had some friends that did come here after.
And do they like it?
They're coming back, right? They're coming back more and more.
I have a question actually. This is very interesting. I always wondered, do you know somebody who, let's say, you recommend to somebody, to your friend or to your colleagues in the work or whatever, to come go to Bali, for holidays in Bali, and they didn't like it? Like
No.
they come, I don't like it, it's not mine.
No.
No? So you see, guys, Balis have something
For everybody.
like a magnet, you know. Hey, this is a little bit. Have you watched the series of Lost long time ago?
Oh, yeah.
Where they crash somewhere on the island that was
Yeah.
actually recorded in Hawaii, but it looks like anywhere around the world, you know, tropical island,
Yeah.
and they have like a magnetic something there, right?
Yeah.
And there was actually the plane crash because of that. But also many of them later on, they never go out. They decide to live there. Remember this big guy actually with this curly hair and everything?
Oh, Hurley.
Harry, yeah. He decided to stay there forever.
Yeah.
It's something like that one, right?
Yeah.
Highly recommended to watching The Lost. That was like 20 years ago, the series, before Netflix was. Very interesting.
Way before Netflix.
Yeah.
When we had to wait every week for an episode.
Exactly. You kids who just born right now, you don't gonna understand this.
Yeah. And then you're gonna realize, why is there so many episodes?
Yeah.
Right? Nowadays Netflix, one season is like 5 episodes.
And you can watch it in one night.
And then you watch it in one night, whereas back then all the shows were like 30 episodes a season, 7 seasons.
Yeah, that was like
1 hour each.
through my all the teenage time I was watching The Lost, and then I have burned this on the CDs. Guys, do you still know what the CD is? Because people who born now they are like 18 years old, you may don't know really.
That's kind of sad, actually.
Yeah, kind of. So do you know what is you still remember the cars where you have a cassette inside?
Oh yeah.
That was cool.
And then back then it was converting to CDs, so you'd have both.
Yeah. And you had the CD changer in the boot usually or something.
Yeah, in the back.
Yeah.
You put 6 CDs in the back.
Now you have a Bluetooth, or even more advanced. You have even cars now with Wi-Fi inside. You can watch you can watch my YouTube if you have a good car actually directly, which is illegal some in some countries, in some not. Anyways, you told me you were the car dealer, so maybe you know that long time ago, right?
Yeah, I used to work at a car dealership.
Yeah. And what you're doing now?
I'm a mortgage broker in Canada.
Mortgage broker. That
Yeah.
sounds serious. That's why you're wearing the glasses like this one.
Yeah, mortgage broker. So basically, if you want to buy a house and you can't come up with the whole amount, I'm here to give you...
In Canada?
Yeah, in Canada.
And only in Canada market or also in US?
No, we're
Only in
only
Canada.
licensed to do it in Canada.
All right, and so, okay, that's actually interesting because many people are interested about the properties and stuff. So, what is the average price of the house in Canada? Where you, by the way, come back to this, where in Canada are you based? In Vancouver or where?
No, so Toronto.
Toronto.
We live about an hour west of Toronto in
Okay.
a city called Ancaster. So if there's any viewers from Ancaster, let them know.
Yeah, guys, comment below.
Yeah.
I have some viewers from Canada actually. So.
Yeah. So we're from Ancaster, which is outside of a city called Hamilton. It's about an hour from the downtown core.
Okay.
Houses, how would you compare it? Like a condo?
I mean, let's say 2-bedroom condo.
2-bedroom condo in downtown Toronto would probably be around, right now, 600,000 to 700,000 Canadian.
So
Which is about
450
450 US. Yeah. So it's a lot. It's a lot.
$500,000.
Yeah. For a space that's like 500 square feet.
Okay. And you don't have a villas like this one with the pool and everything in Canada?
We do, but those are going to run you...
Millions.
A villa like this would probably cost you like 4 or 5 million at least in Toronto.
So that's mean why many people from Canada, it's easy for them to buy villa here or something like that.
To be honest, it's actually
Americans
cheaper.
especially. There's so many videos on YouTube actually, guys. People who coming from US and they building villa for 300, 400, 500,000 US, and they feel as it's cheap, which is to compare to actually local market is not cheap. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
But for them it's cheap. Like you have a house, let's say you have a house, you have a condo in Ontario, right? And you sell it. You can buy something here and you have a savings for living.
Exactly.
just selling your house.
Yeah.
And then you sell your car and some savings and everything, or maybe you keep working and you have a very good life in Bali. Still, as the bonus, you don't have a winter here. Watch, actually, in Canada, you have it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we are talking about the weather, how you handle winter in Canada? Because you're still Asian, of course. Your nationality is Canadian, but your blood is Asian, right?
Of course, yeah.
So how do you handle it? And how is your wife handle it?
Honestly, I've been living in Canada since 93.
1993.
That's when I moved to Canada.
Okay, how old are you now? You don't need to answer that.
It's okay. 35.
35, all right.
All right. So
So how old you were when you moved to Canada? Actually, my math is so bad.
7. Seven? 7.
I saw you say 7.
7? Yeah. So
Okay, so very young.
So we're so used to it, right? Growing up, winter was actually fun because snow coming. When there's a lot of snow, schools canceled, so we love that, right?
What
so
temperature? Because in Poland it's 32, minus 32.
That's too cold. We don't get that cold, but usually when it snows, it's around like 0 to -5. That's when you get the most snow.
And they already closing the school?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
like
I
they
will
close.
have half of the winter I will stay at home in my country.
Yeah,
That's actually cool.
yeah, so we used to stay home. So we used to love it, right? Because it's like we always wake up early and it's like, oh, like it's snowing outside. Like, and we just wait on the TV to see if the schools are canceled, and then it's a party, right?
Yeah.
And then you just build snowmen and you throw snowballs at each other.
Yeah, that's actually cool, you know.
Yeah.
Like my wife don't know what is the snow. She never had opportunity to feel the snow yet.
So like, again, back when we were kids, it was fine, but now that we're older and we have to like get up and go to work and stuff like that, you don't want to get up at 8:30 and then realize there's a foot of snow on top of your car, and then you have to get all that snow off your car before you can get the car going. So then now you're going to be late for work. So
yeah, and then you don't need to change the winter tires
Right,
and
that
many
too.
other stuff what people here have no
Yeah.
even clue what we are talking about.
We call that Canadian tax. So stuff like winter
What?
tires.
Indian tax?
No, Canadian tax.
Canadian tax.
Right?
Sorry.
So like if people that live in Canada, we also have stuff like that. It's called Canadian tax. Where
Okay.
Like winter tires, things that you wouldn't need to buy if you lived like even in the southern U.S. You don't need to buy stuff like that, right?
Alright.
But we have to spend like thousands. So we always have 2 sets of tires in our garage.
Yeah, that's similar to Europe actually. Yeah.
Right. So
So,
Yeah.
so what is if you are talking about the living in in Canada? What is like average? Like I'm not telling about your personal average, but overall average of Canadian for monthly expenses.
monthly expenses.
Like not like average.
Well-
Like here it's something like between few $100 per month.
Oh, we're talking thousands. Like
No, of course that's what I'm.
let's say you're just renting. Like even people that rent nowadays
Yeah, like how much is the rent for the 2-bedroom condo?
in Toronto, about $2,500 a month right now.
2,500.
$2,500. So call it. So let's say $2,000 a month.
Okay.
So that's just rent, but that's just rent.
And of course the bills, internet, water,
Cell phone
heating.
bill. Well, water heating usually is included.
Okay.
Right, but stuff like internet, obviously food, transportation, that's all extra, right? So someone in Toronto can easily spend $3,000-4,000 a month expenses.
That's pretty a lot.
It's a lot.
Like $4,000 or Canadian.
Canadian. So
It's 40 million per month.
3,000 US, give or take.
So it's like 40 million in Bali.
Yeah, that's a lot. Right?
I mean, if you have you have a 40 million to spend a month in Bali, you can be really having a very high standard, pretty high standard of living, because Bali actually getting more expensive all
Yeah.
the time, but still it's Southeast Asia, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So you can see why people like me will travel 24 hours
exactly, you travel
to
24
get
hours.
here. Right?
Because it's more difficult come from Canada or from US to Bali or to Asia than from Europe.
Yeah.
So how did you come? Just since the beginnings. You start in Ontario, right?
Yeah. So, side note, I'm a little bit of a aviation geek. So,
Yeah, he told me.
we took a little bit longer to get here because there's some planes that I wanted to take.
He just took longer road.
I just took a longer road just to get here. So I took longer. But anyways, if you were not as crazy as somebody like me, you would have probably taken the shortest route would take Korean Airlines from Toronto to Incheon, Seoul.
Okay.
That's probably a 15-hour flight with a
Okay.
3-hour layover,
Okay.
and then it would be a 7-hour flight from Seoul to Bali straight.
Okay.
That would be the most efficient route. If you hate traveling, you just want to get here as soon as possible. That's what, 15 plus 3, 18 plus 7. So you're looking at 25 hours.
But it's
from
still
door to
25
door.
hours,
25
right?
hours, right? Me, because I'm crazy, went the other way around. So we did a 7-hour flight from Toronto to Frankfurt.
All right, because there are two ways, right? You can go to the east or west.
3 ways.
right?
You can actually go up north
Okay.
and come down through like Siberia, right? Russia.
You don't want to fly over there right now.
People still do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but anyways. Like,
Anyways, I got what you
so
mean.
7 hours there, and then we had a 6-hour layover in Frankfurt. If you guys ever do that, make sure you have like lounge access because I highly recommend that.
All right.
And then we took Singapore Airlines. This is why
Okay.
we went there, because we can take the double-decker huge
A380.
A380 Singapore Airlines to Singapore. That was 13 hours. And then we laid over another 6 hours in Changi, which, by the way, was...
You get out?
Yeah, we get out.
Oh, that's
Which
cool,
is, to be honest, I could stay longer in Changi because, as we
You
all
like
know,
it?
Changi is amazing. Right? Best place to get stuck in. Let's
Yeah,
put it that way,
definitely.
right?
Better than Heathrow in London. Not sure if you been there, but
No, I hear stories of Terminal
Terrible.
5. And then waited another 6 hours there, and then we flew Scoot down here, 2-hour quick hop,
which is actually cheaper version of
which is basically Singapore Airlines, but it's
Yeah.
just their
no TVs.
no TVs, but 2 hours.
Yeah.
What are you really gonna watch in 2 hours?
That's cool. So how long it was in total?
What is that? 7 plus 6 plus 13 plus 13, 26.
3 days.
26 plus 6 hours, 32, 34 hours.
34 hours.
Just because I'm crazy. I feel bad for my wife because she had to endure that.
So how was your wife then? I see she laughing very well. Is
She's
she
fine.
enjoying? She's fine, right?
Yeah.
You're fine, right?
The good thing is the airline was pretty good. Like Singapore Airlines, you can't really beat that kind of level of service. So they make you feel good on the
Have
plane.
you ever think to be a pilot or working in the airline industry if you really like so much the planes?
I actually have my private license.
Okay, so you can fly the small private planes.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
This makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So
So
that's how I got here. So
So that's
there's
cool.
the less painful way and the very painful way to get here.
That's cool. You know, I know many people complaining as 4 hours in the plane is already so hard.
Oh man.
It's nothing if you are living on the other side of the world, guys.
Yeah.
Seriously, like, and in Europe, from Europe, you can come actually like in 16, 18 hours. You can take a flight because only we stop over in Dubai or in Qatar.
Oh, yeah.
And you
Qatar
can
now
actually
flies here, yeah.
came over, but
Yeah.
it's like 36 hours.
You Australians have it very good.
Yeah, especially if you're from Perth, 3 hours only, direct flight. It's actually very easy.
3 hours, you can't even get to the other side of Canada in 3 hours.
Exactly. So that's cool. So what after Bali? Where are you going? How long you gonna stay in Bali, by the way?
So we're here for 21 days.
Okay,
And
3
then
weeks.
we're going to Singapore for a week after. So we're going back to Changi.
Okay, so you're gonna explore Singapore.
Yeah, we're going to
Okay, you're gonna stay there
for a week.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which is a little bit longer than most people usually take.
Yeah, I always think actually whenever I travel to Singapore to go and explore the city a little bit,
Yeah.
it's definitely worth it. Not only one day or few hours. I have actually I'm not gonna call them my friends because they don't follow me back, so I don't know if they are my friends, but I then follow them, and they are also YouTubers or other content creators, and they're living in Southeast Asia, and they're going to Singapore for just layover. So sometimes they leave the airport, sometimes not.
Mm.
It's few hours, or if so, they go just make a picture of Marina Bay in the background, and that's it. And they said Singapore is boring, which is, in my opinion, totally not true.
Yeah.
You will be 1 week. But I think you said you lived in Singapore.
Very, very, very quickly. I think so. During the time I lived in Indonesia,
All right.
we actually moved.
Oh, you were the kids at that time.
I was tiny, like I was like 2 or 3 years old.
So your parents actually, right?
We had a place in, oh my God, Bukit Timah, if that's the location, I guess, in
Okay.
Singapore, for 6 months, and then we moved back. So
Oh, okay.
I had a little taste of it as a kid. I don't remember a lot of it, but I did.
Have you been between this time in Singapore? Or
Like before?
Like a visit? Like
We always do. So even last time when we came in 2018,
okay.
we made it a point to go to Singapore for, I think it was 3 days last time.
All right.
Just because, to be honest, the food there, you can't touch the food in Singapore. It's so good.
Yeah, that's true.
Like-
If you are talking about the food, you know what I'm gonna ask you now,
God.
So suddenly you got a legendary Bali belly, right?
Yeah.
What's happened, my friend? Tell me.
Like
You're
we-
not gonna get actually. Sorry for distraction.
ahead.
You're not gonna get a Singapore belly in Singapore
Yeah.
or something like that. Even when I was in Bangkok, there was no such of thing for me like a Bangkok belly. However, some people said as there is. Okay, but in Bali, almost everybody. I don't know why it's like that, but almost even my wife Winnie, she's originally from Bali. She had a Bali belly a few days ago.
That's
And I
surprising.
know many my friends who are living in Bali, they got Bali belly, and even there was some person who said as his wife passed away because of complications of Bali belly.
Oh wow.
Yeah, somebody commented a few weeks ago when I was in Singapore actually. So what's happened to you?
Yeah. So I mean,
It's
everybody
serious
knows.
thing.
Everybody knows about Bali belly, obviously, and we do what we can to try to mitigate, I guess. The
What did you
chances of
eat?
getting it. I don't know, and I don't want to obviously
Yeah, of
put
course.
it on the wrong thing, but because we're pretty careful, we always just drink bottled water. We don't even like mixed drinks. We try not to get it because
Yeah.
we obviously don't know where the ice comes from.
So you don't
just in
drinking
case.
ice?
I'm
Just-
not drinking ice.
Just in case. But ice actually, if it's, when you have ice and it's like a hole inside, I know it's
it's
from
fine.
the
Yeah.
company, right?
Yeah, we just don't take the chance.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm pretty sure ice is fine, and most places are good, but we just don't want that chance, right? But yeah, it could be anything what we ate. We've been ordering a lot of Grab too, like food from Grab,
and
we just
then
don't know.
and then you call the doctor or what? Or
Yeah,
you just
so-
heal by yourself or what?
It's been 3 days now. The first 2 days, I just tried to drink a lot of coconut water, stay hydrated. Make sure you stay hydrated because it just gets a lot.
The
out of you.
coconut water is very
Coconut
good.
water, fresh coconut water if you can. If not, we just went to the nearest Coco Mart or Pepito and just wiped out their whole stash of coconut.
The coconuts are everywhere.
And then just keep hydrated. And then after 2 days, I said, you know what? Like I don't want this to last me like a week because I'm only here for 3 weeks, right? So I don't want 1 week of it just to be sitting at home in this. Even though this villa is nice, I kind of want to go out. So
Sure.
I just called the doctor, and doctor
And what's
came.
happened? He give you something like
Yeah,
medicines or what?
a bunch of medicines, injected a couple things also, did a couple of injections, and to be honest, since the doctor yesterday,
This helps? I mean, like literally, like
I don't have any more symptoms.
okay.
So it's been a day. So maybe had I called the doctor on the first day, I probably would have been out of it sooner.
So you recommend to call the doctor if you get a belly in Bali?
Honestly, I would. I actually got it.
This is the key actually, because many people don't want to call the doctor, and maybe that's why they have it longer. How long you wear this? Like 2 days after these injections, the medicines?
No, I had the injection yesterday, and it's this morning, and I feel fine.
Okay, so you see.
Or 1 day, right? Literally 1 day.
So
I
you
felt
see, you
better.
have to take a doctor, guys.
And it doesn't cost that much realistically. Like it costs 500,000 to get them here,
$50.
and they're 24/7. I literally texted him at like midnight, and then he came at like he was here at 9 o'clock in the morning.
All right.
But that's
so-
because I just said just come in the morning. But I'm sure
And-
if it's urgent, they
And
would
you
come.
pay this, or insurance gonna cover it?
So luckily for me, and again, I recommend everyone that comes here to always get insurance because you just never know, right? My insurance will actually cover this. So I just submitted I just took a picture of the invoice, and they're covering it. So
So it's
it's
like
technically free service.
so
Right?
it's like
Yeah.
no big deal.
No big
eventually.
deal. And then we're back on our feet in a day. So
So that's good.
yeah,
Happy ending.
happy ending.
So after Bali, you go to Singapore for a week, and then what else? You
And
going back
then-
to Canada, or you going somewhere else?
No, so this is an interesting itinerary. So originally this wasn't part of the itinerary, but because we were here, I'm like, you know what? Why don't we just make a stop at Thailand?
Yeah,
Because I was actually born in Thailand.
exactly.
I actually have some family in Thailand also that I keep in touch with sometimes. And I said, since we're already here, it's like a 1.5 hour, 2 hour trip from Singapore.
Yeah, it's very close by.
And just go, right? And you literally just went there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cheat sheet. I just have to watch your videos and just follow where you went, right?
I appreciate that.
Right? So we're
Actually,
gonna do that.
I've been in Singapore and in Thailand, so it's if
Yeah,
you are planning to
easy.
make something similar, it's easy.
Yeah. So
You
we're
have
gonna-
already, you know,
You have all the videos already.
yeah, you can watch my videos. You have like plan your itinerary. You don't need to look everything by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna go to Thailand for a week, and then from there we fly back again to Singapore.
Again?
Well, because my original flight out was from Singapore, my return flight.
Oh, okay.
So I have to keep coming back to Singapore every time I book a
got
flight. And then I'm not going back to Toronto. I'm actually going to Texas.
Okay.
So this is like my origin story all over again.
That's cool. How?
I'm going to Texas because my parents live in Texas. So we're flying. You thought the trip here was long. So we're taking Singapore Airlines from Singapore straight to Houston, Texas,
Okay.
with a 1 hour stopover in Manchester. Total flight time is 26.
In Manchester, US.
No, Manchester, UK,
Okay.
right? 1 hour stopover, not layover. So you can get out, but you literally have to get out and go back in the plane.
Okay.
And that's 26 and a half hours.
You really like having long roads, right?
Right? But at least we don't have to change planes. At least we don't have to.
New
Check
experience
baggage,
and
right?
stuff like this.
Yeah, but at least it's Singapore
Little
Airlines.
tour around the Manchester airport.
Yeah, and then we're gonna be in Texas for 3 weeks,
Okay.
and then back up to by that time December. So
Christmas time.
snowy Canada.
All right.
Yeah,
So that's interesting.
yeah.
So you are like on the very long holidays.
I'm literally gonna travel the whole globe. We're gonna circle the globe,
Yeah.
basically.
just 2 more continents, 3 more, and you will make like a trip around the world. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's like I did the math. It's like 30. I forgot how many 30-something thousand kilometers round trip.
Do you counting all of this? And counting? I only counting flights. I'm not counting the miles.
The miles, yeah. Yeah, it's like something like 30,000 kilometers round trip. Or something.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So let's back to the Bali topic because we are in Bali right now, right? Maybe next time we can make a podcast the same in Thailand or somewhere. But we are in Bali currently. So you said 6 times in Bali.
Yeah.
3 weeks right now.
Yep.
Do you explore a lot, or you are just more into chilling?
So now, because this is, I guess we're regulars, if
Right.
you want to call it that. This trip was more just relaxing. Like,
Okay.
We have this villa for 9 days, and to be honest, we haven't really left it.
Okay. You found the villa on where? On Booking.com or
No,
Airbnb? or-
Airbnb, but this one you can find on Booking.com too.
Okay.
Um,
It was the good deal.
yeah. You want me to say how much?
Up to you.
So this villa. maybe-
How big is villa? We're not gonna maybe showing because it's podcast, but just.
I don't know how big this is. Maybe
But
like
2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, what?
it's a 3-bedroom villa.
Okay.
3
In
floors
Uluwatu.
in Uluwatu.
Kuta Selatan, but Uluwatu
Yeah.
in general.
With a nice pool outside. There's a nice deck on the 3rd floor that you can watch the sunrise and
You
sunset.
have a nice background. It's
Yeah.
suitable for our podcast today.
I don't know which one looks more like me.
I don't know. That is cool.
But yeah, it was about 100 in Canadian dollars. It was like 120
120 Canadian per night.
per night. So I think
So
it was yeah.
I don't know how much.
I think it was like 1.2 million,
$80 US.
something like that.
Yeah,
Like
that's-
you can't beat that. Like you
it's pretty alright. Good price, especially as it's already season is back.
yeah.
Like you booked it like in the
2 months ago.
2 months ago.
Yeah. But you don't have to. I actually found out you actually don't have to. I found it actually gets cheaper as you get closer.
All right. Yeah, because maybe last minute it's also
Yeah,
actually
but-
cheaper. That's actually a very interesting trick.
Yeah, so we just played it safe because we wanted to make sure we had proper accommodations. But if you want to take a risk, especially if you're not traveling from halfway across the world like me,
Yeah.
you can wait till a couple of weeks before and snatch up some good deals, maybe, right?
Yeah, but okay. So because we met first time in Sun or some time ago, actually, you stay in the hotel, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was that? It was
That
Holiday.
was Holiday Inn. So
Oh,
I
the
think
new Holiday Inn in Sanur, by the
Yeah.
way. Many of you guys asking me about the hotel. How was that? It was okay? Or?
it was great because I think it was only, you told me it was only open for a couple of months before
Yeah,
I
just
got
opened
here,
it
right?
not so long ago.
It's great. Like it's brand new, so nothing really to complain about. Really good selection of breakfast. They
Yeah.
change it up. Some local, some international foods, right?
And the price also affordable?
I think we paid. I'm trying to do this in Indonesian rupiah, so it's easier.
It's
for
okay,
you guys.
doesn't matter.
600,000 a night.
That's 60,
60 bucks
Canadian,
40
Australian
something.
will be similar, and it's like 40 something
Yeah,
US.
for a
Pretty
brand new
good price.
hotel. And if you
In
guys
Sanur,
in Sanur, like literally
next to the beach.
100 meters to the beach.
Next to
And
actually, guys, yeah, Holiday Inn is like bordering with Intercontinental. If you know the area, they are same group actually.
yeah, IHG, right?
Yeah, IHG.
Yeah.
So it's actually very close, very convenient area
Yeah.
actually. So
And
and it's new, right?
you want to know the story of why I booked it?
Yeah, sure. Is the story of that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So
Sure.
we were originally going to book the Art Hotel,
Okay.
which is literally
Okay.
next door.
Yeah.
Art Hotel is literally on the intersection of the roundabout. And then I was looking at the pictures, and
And
they
then?
also have a rooftop like swimming pool and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then there was a picture on the website that was looking toward the beach, but it was blocked by Holiday.
Okay, guys, this is actually interesting. I just thinking about that.
So I was like, oh man, this Holiday Inn is literally blocking the view of this art hotel. So then I searched up the Holiday Inn, and then I looked at their picture, and their picture has a clear view of the beach. So I'm like, I'll just book that instead.
That's actually interesting. Yeah. I wasn't thinking about that before, but now that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
So they build the Holiday Inn, so the Art Total have a view like the wall. So,
Yeah.
and I think Art Total is also more expensive.
It was about the same.
Or same?
About the
Okay.
same. So we were gonna book one or the other regardless, but for
Okay.
that extra view, I was like, why? And it's newer, so,
So you recommend it?
I'd go back.
Alright.
And it's so convenient. It's close to everything. It's close to the famous Massimo Gelato.
Yeah, the famous place.
Every time we go there, there's like 30 people waiting.
Do you
in
like
line.
it?
We tried it once. It was okay, right? Like, I mean,
It's alright.
for the hype, it was a
It's
little bit
very
disappointing. But
in my opinion, Massimo Gelato is a little bit overrated currently.
Yeah,
because it's so hype on it, so much queue, so much people, right?
yeah,
But
it's good.
It's good.
I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's good.
it's
just,
good. But you can find better.
I haven't found better, but
But
maybe
we
you can
can.
tell. Yeah.
But they have a nice pizza also. Have you tried the food there?
No, there's actually sometimes a waiting list to get into for dinner.
True. It's true actually.
Yeah.
Better to reserve, guys, if you also this is the one of the oldest places in Sanur, and when there was no other Italian restaurants or no other gelatos, so that's why it's so popular, so famous.
Oh, that's the one thing too I noticed. So I was
Yeah.
back in 2018. Gelato wasn't a thing, or at least I didn't see any gelatos in 2018.
The genuine gelato, yeah.
Yeah, and then now I come back here, there's gelato everywhere.
Yeah, in Sanur there's like 3 or 4 places with gelato on the
Yeah.
Tamblingan
So that's
Street.
kind of interesting how.
Why? By the way, why Sanur for the first nights? Just
Um,
don't tell me because you watch my videos.
No, not because you're everywhere, right?
Yeah, I'm everywhere.
But we've actually never. So the 6 times I've been here, I've never been to Sanur.
Okay, so where usually you stay in? Okay, that's actually a good question. So whenever you're coming to Bali in the previous time, or your parents were coming to
Yeah.
Bali, right, with you when you were still kid, where you were staying? In Bali?
More obviously on the west side, so your Seminyaks,
That's
Kuta, Legian, like back then, that's where we would stay because that's where it was always busy.
Okay.
We would also go up to Ubud, right? So we
Okay.
would make the trip up to Ubud all the time too, right? But this time we wanted something a little bit more quieter. Like I said, we had no itinerary when we came here.
Okay.
We just said
yeah, more coming into chilling and relaxing.
chilling, relaxing. So if that's your itinerary coming here, go to Sanur. It's so quiet.
Yeah,
It's still enough to feel like the tourist vibe. Like you'll see people coming in and out, but it's not like Kuta or Legian or your famous. Canggu.
you're not into party people.
No, we're not party. I think we're
And
too-
not
too
into
old for that.
exploring every single day since sunrise to late night.
Yeah, so-
Going for the trips, for
Yeah.
12-hour long trips or
yeah.
stuff like
So
this.
this is our first time in Sanur, and honestly, I think we stay there again. It's
You like it in general?
oh, yeah.
It's cool. And why Uluwatu?
Again, wanted something very relaxing, right? We just wanted to change it up because we're just so used to hotels all the time. So
Okay.
we just got this villa.
Why villa, no hotel? Actually, that's a good question.
Because this is actually my first time renting villas, so this is something new for us this time.
Have you been scared before? Like, there's some people are afraid to booking the villas because, I don't know, maybe pictures are not really accurate.
Oh.
Maybe it's like, maybe they're going to scam me, or maybe the villa will be not exist even. Because, if you have a big hotel, especially branded hotel, this kind of safe choice, right?
Yeah.
I used to renting places on Airbnb actually, especially in Malaysia, in Thailand. So
yeah, and Airbnb is very popular in Canada and the States, so we use it often too.
But you recommend it?
You just have to do your research, right? Obviously, there's a lot of reviews.
Was the star, because if you're renting something on Airbnb, as I remember, there's the star rating, right?
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah, so what was the rating for this one? Do you remember?
4.9.
So it's like pretty perfect.
Right. So I would always say look at the rating, but also look at how many ratings. So
exactly, because also you're working as the property broker. So what do you recommend whenever you're booking the hotels or you're booking the villas or whatever, any kind of accommodation, what rating is like a critical to make a decision? Like what is the lowest what you will consider and what you should avoid?
Depends on where you book, but I usually book on Agoda actually.
Okay,
because I'm so used to Agoda, I always go to Agoda. But Booking.com is obviously big too now.
I use like Booking.com more likely.
I would
doesn't
say
really matter.
8.5.
8.5 in the scale to 10, right?
On a scale to 10, that's what I would do. And the trick I use also is don't just go based off of what Booking.com says. So what I do is if I find a hotel, let's say Holiday Inn, and Holiday Inn's rating on Agoda was like 9.2 or something, I would actually copy that, go on Google Maps, and also see the reviews on Google Maps because there is discrepancy sometimes.
Actually, I'm doing this pretty same thing, to be honest. Actually, usually I'm checking first on Booking.com, then I'm checking on the Google Map.
Yeah.
And then if it's big difference, because sometimes it's the same, and sometimes it's huge difference.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to look anywhere elsewhere, and then... But if it's very huge difference, it's like an alarm for me to consider this.
Exactly. So that's why I wanted to mention that. So, minimum 8.5. I think you'd be safe with 8.5.
Pretty.
And then obviously the higher the better, right?
Yeah, of course. Except you are looking for something very budget.
Yeah.
Because if you are looking for something very budget, guys, you're not gonna find the ranking like this one. It will be very low because people will complain about something. And of course, if it's very affordable, very cheap, that means it's not perfect, but that's also depends what you are looking for, right? Yeah. But if you are looking for something normal standard, it's 8.5.
Yeah.
And on the Airbnb will be what? Like in the scale to 5 will be like
scale to 5.
4.
Most are in the 4s. I would probably say higher than 4.5.
Will you ever book something what is like very, very bad review, but is for free, almost for free, or something like that? Have you tried?
If I had a lot of time here, maybe, right? But
I watched some YouTube videos actually about that. People are renting the worst hotel in Bali or worst hotel in the world, something like that. There are some videos, and it's very interesting.
Not something I would do, just because every day for me here is
maybe for the video purposes only.
Yeah, for video purposes.
Actually, for making a video, it could be interesting.
It's like what is it? Gordon Ramsay, like Kitchen Nightmares.
Hotel.
Oh no, I think he even did that too. No.
What?
Gordon Ramsay, doesn't he do like hotel nightmares or something?
I'm not sure about the hotels.
Anyways, but yeah. Anyway.
Something like that. That's cool. All right. So, what do you like about the Bali, or what you don't like it? Because must be something what could be better or maybe improved. What do you think? Just honest opinion. There's no excellent place in the world.
The culture obviously is amazing.
Of course. That's what Bali actually is famous for.
The Balinese people are probably the most genuine, nicest people you'll ever meet. So I always recommend that as a tourist. Don't be afraid to talk to the locals. They will talk up a storm with you.
For sure.
And they will tell you their life stories and everything. And it's a very humbling experience. So I always try to encourage even my wife just take a few minutes every day and say hi to everybody and talk to people, because you don't know who you're going to meet, and some of these memories are the ones that you're going to cherish when you leave, right? So that's the things I love about Bali. Things I would change, I don't know. Like honestly, you know, when you try to compare it to like other countries like Bangkok, Thailand, Singapore, you know, it could be a little cleaner. Like, you know, if you go to the beaches now, you see like, I always see garbage
The
everywhere.
rain season is, it's pretty sad in Bali about
Like
the garbage.
even Nusa Penida, when we were crossing the ferry back to the main island.
From Nusa Penida to Sanur,
There was like little patches of like garbage and stuff floating around in the ocean, and our ferry actually had to stop a couple times to like avoid
because
it.
the engine failed.
Yeah, you don't want it to get.
They had to clean the
propeller.
The propeller, yeah.
Right, so just stuff like that is obviously will take time, but just things like that are a little bit sad to see.
It is
But
sad indeed,
it's happening everywhere, right? But just stuff like that, seeing more and more of that. What I do like is a lot of these shops in Bali now are taking away plastic.
Yeah, that's the
I noticed
big
that.
campaign.
I noticed that. So there's a lot, like when we go to like Coco Mart or Papito, they don't give you plastic bags anymore for your groceries.
And also, if you go to McDonald's, you're not gonna get a straw.
Yeah, or even like the brown bags anymore. They give you all the reusable bags.
Yeah,
right?
actually, you have to pay for them.
But
that's
still,
interesting fact. But that's like a nice proper bag what you can use for the shopping, and this is part of advertisement for McDonald's. But it's good way in general.
We use it for our laundry.
Whatever, I use it for the shopping all the time.
Yeah,
I have.
Use it for shopping.
Yeah.
We use it to put all of our dirty laundry, so then when we bring it to the laundry service, they just...
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. I mean, this is like a marketing strategy, but overall it's helpful to the environment, right?
Yeah. So that's the only thing that I'd like to see change. But I would like for someone that comes to Bali and appreciates the culture, I just hope that in 10, 20 years, the culture is still strong.
Yeah, this is actually the biggest concern.
Right.
Because now it's like so much controversy around about the beach clubs.
Yeah.
Bali is becoming more into Ibiza or Cancun or something like that.
Yeah. Right.
Right. It's not like, because many people, especially who came to Bali like 20, 30, even 50 years ago. I have viewers who are coming to Bali in the 70s. Mm-hmm. In the beginning of the tourism industry. When Grand Ina in Sanur, there was the only one hotel.
Yeah.
Where you could make international call or having a croissant.
Yes.
That's a serious story. People commenting on my YouTube.
Yeah.
At that time, Bali was about the culture.
Yes.
About the about the culture and stuff. Now Bali becoming a little bit into, it's changing all the time, right? But it's even 5 years ago was not that many beach clubs as it is now.
No.
And what is your point of view of these changes? Do you think are good, or do you think it's like too much, little bit?
I don't think it's good or bad. I think
it's
just
the process, right?
I think it's just evolving, right?
Yeah,
you want to, at the same time, it's a tourist destination, so you want to make sure that you cater to what the tourists want, right? And there's obviously that demographic that loves beach clubs, that kind of stuff.
Well, if the people will be not interested in coming to the beach club, they will know people who build them. But
right.
If you go, then they are full.
Yeah, right.
So it's the interest of that.
So I think it's fine. It's just, I just hope that there's a nice balance.
The balance,
right?
Exactly.
And I think there's hopefully maybe some government intervention in terms of maybe something like the culture has to be portrayed in some way if you wanted to do, any type of stuff. Like it's, you know what I mean, right? Like the preservation of the culture is.
But I think the Balinese people will preserve this. It's like It's like since the very, very, very late times, like early stages of, development of Bali Island, they always keep it. So I think they will keep it till now.
Yeah, and then same thing. Like we went to Nusa Penida.
Yeah.
I don't know if what was it? Diamond Beach.
There is Diamond Beach.
They excavated half the mountain. And it's like a big for sale sign saying for sale.
Really?
Yeah.
It's been a while now. In the Diamond Beach?
Yeah. They
where is like a cliff on the middle of the water?
It's literally where
a diamond shape.
No. It's like right where the parking lot is as you're coming into Diamond Beach. I think it's Diamond Beach.
Diamond or Clinking Beach?
No, it's Diamond Beach, but it was closer to the treehouse.
Yeah, you don't go.
That is the treehouse.
On the one side, it's like excavated and there's multiple levels. It's all flat.
Okay.
And then there's a big for sale sign, like villa for sale or something,
That's
land
new.
for sale.
That's new something. I don't remember.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Like, so now they're starting to, I guess, maybe focus is now switching from the main island, and opportunities are now in Nusa Penida.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Nusa Penida is, is the sister of Bali. Actually, this belongs
Yeah.
to the Bali Regency.
Yeah,
So it's like a part of Bali. It's
Yeah.
different island, but part of the same district.
yeah,
So yeah, it's like Nusa Penida is different than Bali, right?
yeah.
It's like climate is different, so it's not that much
Yeah.
rice fields and stuff like this.
And Bali is relaxing, but Nusa Penida is another level of relaxing, right?
Yeah, it's another
Yeah.
level. So it's actually opportunity for the locals there. Yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
So back to the topic of living in Bali. Would you consider, as you were like, I could tell, as you are like half Thai, half Indonesian, right? As
Mhm.
your parents.
Yeah.
Okay, you are Canadian, but by blood you are like this one, right?
Yeah.
Would you consider to move to Bali or Thailand in the future, or maybe like living longer term, like I don't know, like half year
Yeah.
here or so, or maybe retired later on? I mean, you are still young, right?
Yeah.
But something like that.
It's definitely in the back of our minds.
Also, your wife is Korean, right? So
Yeah, she's Canadian, but her parents are from
Oh, okay.
South Korea.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Technically, you are Korean, but
Well, your parents were Korean, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But would you consider, like, for example, let's say Bali or Indonesia, and Thailand and Korea, or Canada, or maybe somewhere else?
honestly, I would make Bali something more of a permanent
Okay.
residency in the future. I don't know obviously when, but I'm fortunate enough that I work in an industry where I don't have to meet clients face to
Okay.
face. So
Lucky enough.
like honestly, right now, like we're here, I'm actually working.
Yeah.
Now the only bad part is Canada is 12 hours behind. So when it's 9 p.m. here, it's 9 a.m. over there. So really, I'm working into the night for some days, right? So my hours are a little bit wonky here.
So now it's like 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
So the people
4
are
a.m.
gonna
Wake up
slowly
soon.
wake up in
Yeah.
Canada, and they're gonna call you, start
Yeah.
calling you.
So that's
So you cannot go for party.
I was gonna say I probably have to be back around 9 every night, right, just to make sure. But doable.
Yeah.
I would say it's doable. Like if I told my wife, hey, like let's stay here for another month, it wouldn't really change anything. We could.
Okay. Yeah.
Going back to your previous, we talked about prices of villas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In comparison to what it would cost for living in Canada, it's very affordable, right? Like you could,
Yeah.
like you said, you could sell your house in Toronto.
I mean, many people do like that.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, many people do like that. There are many stories of people
Yeah.
like that.
And you would still have a lot left over for savings or what investing, right?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, to answer your question, long story short, yes, I think it's definitely in our plans in the near future. Never know, maybe we will do some sort of like leasehold or something and build our own villa. Who knows?
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And then when we're not here, you can use it as a studio or we can rent it out on Airbnb. You know? Right?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend anyone that's maybe looking to retire. We call them snowbirds in Canada.
Snowbirds.
So basically, somebody that lives in Canada but doesn't like the winter. So what they do is, Canada in the summertime, by the way, is gorgeous. It's almost like here. You can get as hot as 30, 35 degrees Celsius in Toronto. But come November, December, January, February, March, it's freaking cold, right? And snowing and freezing rain and all the bad stuff. So
How do you feel with this weather, like winter? Can you accept this? Like your body can accept that?
we're so used to it.
To it,
And the change is so gradual, right? It's not like today is 35, tomorrow's -2.
Yeah.
It's every day it gradually gets colder and colder. So even for someone like yourself or Winnie, you can adjust to it very easily, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, if you like, maybe if you, let's say in December is -10, -5 in Canada,
Yeah.
and here is +30, and you just came with your shorts and your t-shirt.
People will look at you a little bit funny.
Yeah, and then you could easily get sick. But after that, yeah, you can adapt this.
You would adapt to it. And obviously it's not cold inside.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah. But yeah, snowbirds, anyone that is a snowbird and wants to look for places to go when it's cold, Bali is a great place. It's just getting the exposure
Yeah.
out to people in Canada and US, because Bali is not usually one of the top destinations for North American people.
Actually, if you are talking about that, Bali is one of the top destinations worldwide, but not like a very, very top.
Yeah.
It's like top 10, let's say,
Yeah.
or top 20.
Yeah.
Especially, from people from Asia continent or Australia, Bali is one of the tops.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's true. Even actually other destinations, like for you guys from Americas, you have all the beautiful destinations also, all Caribbeans.
That's right.
All of the South America is actually beautiful as well. And
Yeah.
in few hours.
Yeah.
And much cheaper also, right?
And southern US, right? Like a lot of snowbirds actually live in Florida, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. Florida, California, Arizona, Texas now, right? So
Yeah, like your parents.
yeah, you're right. So these are destinations that people will look at first. Then you go to like Central America, to like the Caribbeans, down to South America, before you would look at Asia, right?
Yeah.
So for us North Americans, Bali usually isn't top of mind. Obviously, for me, it is, because I'm influenced by it, because I'm half Indonesian.
Yeah, obviously. For you, it's slightly different.
Yeah, so it'd be nice to see more Canadians and Americans. I know, obviously, there's some of us that do come here, but I would like to see more. It'd be kind of cool to see more Canadians eventually come out
When
this
I
way.
was in Thailand, actually in Bangkok especially, you can find so many American and Canadian people.
Yeah.
Even there is the one YouTuber who is actually, this is actually a very funny story, because he's the Canadian YouTuber,
Yeah.
originally from Canada, like a Canadian with Canadian parents, and his wife is originally from Korea, but they still decide to leave Korea, leave Canada, and live in Thailand. That's interesting.
Okay. Maybe we've seen the videos.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Thailand is still like a little bit more popular. Also, if you are looking for statistics, Thailand before pandemic times, before the pandemic in 2019, had 41 million international visitors,
Okay.
while Indonesia itself had 15,
Okay.
and Bali had only 8
Wow.
million. So by statistics, like we said, it's
not
very
as-
top.
Right.
It's nice, but it's not like a very top. And the majority of international visitors in Bali, they're actually Australians, number one. There was over 1 million. And the other Southeast Asian countries dominating, right? Because of the distance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the same, even in Europe, actually, many of my friends, they're traveling also to South America or to Caribbean countries, simply because it's
Closer.
closer and cheaper for the airfare.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So for you, it's the special bond with
Yeah,
Bali.
so I'm a little bit biased, but my wife, if you wanted to get her on here,
Yeah.
would tell you that she would appreciate it. Like she would have no problems
Yeah.
living here as like over a longer time, right? But
That's cool.
it's just getting people exposed to it. But because, like I said at the beginning of our podcast, you can't really describe Bali to somebody. You're going to say one side's beaches, the other side is cliffs, the other side is a rainforest.
Exactly. This is the good point. This
Right.
is like you go to Phuket, for instance. Have you been in Phuket? No.
No, I've never been.
Okay, if you've been, but
Yeah,
you've been in Thailand
Yes,
in general.
yes.
You watch my videos.
Yeah.
If you go to Phuket, you have beach, you have nightlife,
Yeah,
and pretty that's it.
yeah,
But if you go to Bali, you have everything,
yeah,
or even more.
yeah.
You can still find the nightlife. Okay, maybe not as that wild nightlife like in Thailand, because Thailand is capital country of nightlife in Asia.
Yeah.
But you have a beaches,
Yeah.
which is not only white sand beach, but also the volcanic beaches, the
volcanics,
black ones.
yeah.
You have volcanoes, which Phuket
Active.
don't have it. Active.
volcanoes.
Erupted a few years ago, actually,
Yeah.
one. You have culture of Balinese.
Yes, that's the big one.
You have rice fields everywhere. You have a jungle.
Yep.
You have a lake. You have
Yep.
actually so many things in one island of Bali.
Yes.
While Phuket is smaller and have only basically beaches and the nightlife.
Yeah.
Now it's hard to explain to the people that.
Yeah.
And you see, when I'm making the videos, actually, this is interesting. I have an audience who are interested only on specific part of Bali.
Yeah.
Because Bali is not like, you see, if you go to Phuket or I don't know, maybe other destination, tourist destination, maybe somewhere in I don't know, Cuba, for instance.
Sure.
Everywhere will be the same, pretty same thing.
Yeah, it's beaches.
Beaches.
Yeah.
Or this or this. And you
Yeah.
go to Cuba, they are all the architecture and all of the scars and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. All of this. But in Bali, you go to Kuta or Legian or Seminyak will be one thing. In Sanur will be something. In Ubud will be something. In Uluwatu will be different.
Yeah.
And if you go to North Bali, will be totally different.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to actually describe how is Bali. Let's say you go back to Canada and some of your friends gonna ask, how is the Bali? I'm looking to go. And it's like so much variety, right?
Yeah, there's so much things. It's something for everyone.
Exactly.
Even for kids, like if you have kids, there's so much stuff to do here with kids, right?
Exactly.
And there's zoos and parks and
Many
turtle
things.
conservations, right? And then if you want, you can go up to all the way up to Singaraja, right, and watch some dolphins. Like there's so much to do. Like
Exactly.
you can sit here for another couple hours and just talk about
Exactly.
things to do in Bali.
That's
and it's
that's
so
the biggest difference, right?
So there's something for everyone. Yeah, something for everyone.
So overall, you recommend people to come to visit. Actually, in my opinion, you can agree with me or not. I think at least once in the lifetime, everybody should visit Bali.
Yes.
At least once,
Yeah. Yeah.
and try to explore as much as possible.
Yeah, and don't come for 7 days.
or 3 days. I know. I had a friend. This is true story. I had a friend who somebody told him as Bali is small island and boring, and he was visiting other countries in Asia, and he come to Bali for 3 days.
Yeah.
And so only in Kuta actually.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't really
Yeah,
like
so
it.
you see a very, very small piece of the puzzle, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, it depends how far you're coming from. Obviously, if you're coming from North America, if you're coming from Australia, you can stay for 3 days because it's
Yeah,
not
I
that
mean,
far.
many people from Australia coming for a weekend, or
Yeah.
used to coming at least.
Because you can always come back and spend Friday to Sunday, go back and have
Yeah.
work on Monday, right? But if you're coming from Canada, like I said,
You're gonna
anywhere
spend
from
36 hours in the plane.
26 to 36 hours in a plane, you're not staying here for a week because you're losing half of that traveling, right? So
Exactly.
if you're coming to Bali, for those of you in North America looking to come over, like I'd recommend minimum 3 weeks. Because
I think so, yeah. I
you're-
agree with that.
You're losing the first 2 days to travel, and then you're losing the next 2 days to jet lag. Unless you're some like superhuman that doesn't get affected by jet lag. But the first 2 days, you're pretty much in and out trying to get your clocks reset,
I
right?
like superhuman.
Right?
It's
Like-
not possible. Yeah.
So
I
you're
mean-
going to lose that, and then that's like it's pretty much 4 days gone right there. So then your 21 days is really only 17 days, right, or 18 days. So 18 days, I think, is a reasonable time for you to be able to explore your Kutas, your Uluwatus, your Sanurs, Ubud, obviously,
At least go to 3 different locations.
and
Don't
then-
limit yourself to only one place.
Nusa Penida if you have time.
Yeah.
Oh, Nusa Penida also, I recommend, because I know day trips are very popular, to stay the 2 days.
That's also a good point.
Stay the night, because honestly, the problem with the day trips is you're going to be with everybody else on that day trip. So especially if you want to take a picture by the treehouse, the lineup is like insane. It's probably like 1 hour, 2 hours just to take a picture by the treehouse,
Yeah,
right?
I did the day trips there.
And then by
I
the
know
time
how
you-
is it. Yeah, it's
by the time
crazy.
you're done that, you only get to see 2 things, and then you got to go back because the last ferry back is at 4:30, right?
Something like that.
Something
Yeah.
like that, right? So what we did was we actually took the 1 p.m. ferry the day before. We got there around, by the time we disembarked, like 2:30.
Yeah.
And then we went straight to Clinking Beach and
Yeah.
watched the sunset there.
Where already all the tourists come back.
Everyone's gone. We were the
Exactly.
only ones there.
Exactly.
So you don't have to worry about waiting in line and getting other people in the picture.
and the
There was-
accommodation is
there was
very
nobody
affordable
there.
there. Yeah.
Nobody there. Probably like one other couple. And actually, this couple, I think, did the same thing because we saw them the next day too. But they were the only ones there. You didn't have to wait in line, and then you can relax. We were there for like 2-3 hours, just relaxing, right?
Yeah.
And then we booked a hotel on the island, and then started very early the next day to Diamond Beach.
How you were moving around the island?
We had a driver. So we hired a driver. We have a driver here on the main island.
Okay.
And I told her that I wanted to do Nusa Penida because we've never been there.
So you brought him,
I brought her with me.
her,
Her.
the lady.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I brought her. She says she goes, Lewis, normally I would just book everything, but you just take it and my driver will meet you on the other side.
Okay.
But I said, just come with us.
Okay.
So she's like, really? Like, yeah, why not? Just come. And I actually booked her a hotel room too.
Yeah.
So we booked 2 rooms side by side. So she stayed the night, and it was great because you know why? They became our photographers. So we had 2 photographers technically, one with like one view on this side, one with that view on that side. So it's kind of cool.
That's kind of smart, I could say.
Yeah.
It's still a good deal, I could say.
It's still a good deal, right? Obviously, you're paying a little bit more for it, but
I mean, if you would like to hire the photographer, it will be definitely
more expensive, right? So she was great.
And she was happy with that.
Oh, she was, yeah, right. So yeah, long story short, recommend it if you can spend the night, at least one night, because that way you'll get sunset and you'll get sunrise, which is what you don't get during the day trips, right?
Yeah, you actually during the day trip you're not having either sunrise or either sunset
or sunset, right? So yeah.
So yeah, that's highly recommended to visit also the other islands.
Yeah.
You also have Nusa Lembonan, which is smaller island to visit.
Yeah.
If you want, we are talking about the Bali, but also there are many other trips to other parts of Indonesia, obviously. So if you are talking about all about the Bali, what is your favorite food in Bali? Do you like babi guling? Do you eat stuff like this?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Like babi guling is great. Like back then, it was only one place. It was the Ibu Oka, right? That was
Yeah.
the original.
Yeah.
So as kids, we would always
Popular.
go there.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it's exploded to different restaurants and stuff like that. I'd highly recommend you try it. Probably not my favorite thing in Bali, but definitely something you have to try.
Yeah, it's very unique to Bali. It's Balinese dish.
Same with the duck, right?
The duck.
The duck, you got to try the duck.
What's the name of the duck? I forgot.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, but we know what we are talking about.
Yeah, I know. Famous duck. Favorite food in Bali? I would
Or
say
in
is the
Indonesia.
nanti. I would just say is the nasi campur.
Okay, yeah. This
Like
is,
local stuff. Like I love local stuff, and again going back to the whole issue with Bali Belly, just be careful where you get it. But
overall, you recommend to eating local food?
I always recommend local food, not just Bali, but anywhere you go. Right?
Of course.
Don't come here and eat pizza, or don't come here and have pancakes for breakfast. Like you know what I mean? Like
But guys, if you are coming for holidays, if you are living here and you are living like me for 6 or 7 years,
Yeah.
You it's very hard for you to eat everyday rice.
Yeah. I'm
you
talking
know?
strictly like we had McDonald's
Because
the other day.
because we are talking about when you are visiting. Whenever I travel, also right, I go to Vietnam last time. I also go to Singapore and Thailand and other stuff. I always try to eat local food.
Yeah.
But when you are living as the expat, you have to eat what is the best for you. You know.
Yeah.
Especially like maybe for you it's a little bit different, but for me personally, I couldn't handle eating local food 3 times a day every single day.
True.
And I think for body will be like not really good actually. You know? I mean,
Yeah.
it's different. We are like, you know.
Yeah.
So having like, because later, you know, people saying Damian eating only pizza and burgers. You know? Yeah, but that's how, you know, my
Yeah.
body's working. You know?
Yeah, but so basically what I'm trying to say is if you're coming here for the first time, at least try.
Exactly. Actually, my first dish, whenever I first time came to Indonesia, to Bali, it was nasi campur. I remember that. I had it in Kuta, actually, in the restaurant in Discovery Mall, but that was nasi campur.
Yeah, and honestly,
And I like it overall.
Oh, it's great, and it's actually good for Instagram because it's so colorful.
Yeah, it looks nice,
It's
like a, you know, like a
the
cake.
green banana leaf,
Yeah.
the yellow rice, and you have all different. The sambals are the red. You have the eggs, right?
Exactly.
Great for Instagram as like a first dish. But yeah, not saying don't eat the pizza, not saying don't eat the shawarmas or whatever, but don't just restrict.
They don't
your
have a
food.
shawarma here anyway.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
Oh,
The not really good one.
hey, we have a business idea.
Yeah, I know. You can open.
But yeah, just try it. Just try don't be afraid to try some local food because you'll be surprised as to how good some of it can be, right? Yeah.
And babi guling maybe it's not like for the very, very first dish on the jet lag. It's maybe too hard a little bit.
Nasi goreng. Try the
Nasi
nasi
goreng,
goreng,
mee goreng.
like that
Soto
stuff.
ayam, the soup one is
The
also
soup is good. Like these are some things that you'll probably get for breakfast anyways. Most hotels will give you a choice of.
Exactly. In the hotels in Bali, you usually gonna get Indonesian option.
Yeah. I think that at the Holiday Inn we even had like a bubur, which is the porridge, right?
The porridge, yeah.
We had the porridge. What else did we
With
have?
chicken.
We had the soto one day, so they changed it up at the Holiday Inn. There was soto one day.
Yeah.
They even had pho one day, but it wasn't that great. right?
That's actually a little bit strange.
Yeah, they had pho one day.
But interesting, yeah. The options in the hotels.
They had yellow rice, so nasi kuning.
yeah, yellow rice.
So they have all that. So they have options. So most restaurants will have for breakfast like I guess a international dish menu, and then also have the local one, right? So that would be a good way to sort of ease your way into the local food, right? So I don't know anyone that doesn't like nasi goreng. So do you know anyone that doesn't like nasi goreng?
Honestly, I'm not really.
Oh, come on.
I'm honest. That's
Yeah,
my
it's okay.
show. I can tell whatever I want.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
But it's not bad.
It's not as okay. I will eat, and it's not like I don't like it, but I don't feel good after that.
Oh, okay.
And that's the reason why I don't eat it.
Yeah, yeah.
The taste is alright. I'm just really avoiding eating rice
Ah, okay.
because I don't feeling very well. But that's like I said, you have an Asian blood,
Yeah.
and I unfortunately I don't have it, so
Yeah.
I cannot adopt too much to the local food.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference. What do you eat in Canada back at home then? You eat like Canadian, like Western,
We try to eat
or you mix?
healthier. Yeah, we mix. I personally do a lot of keto.
Okay,
So if anyone knows what keto is, it's very little carbohydrates.
okay.
It's just mostly, I eat a lot of meats, a lot of
You're
vegetables.
not vegetarian.
No, I'm a very big meat eater, but I try to keep a lot of protein
Yeah.
and fats in my diet as opposed to carbohydrates. So coming here, keto is like almost impossible. Not impossible, but hard because everything here is rice, noodles, bread, right? Like, so it's very difficult. So a couple weeks before I came here, I actually had to wean off of keto and slowly increase my carbohydrate intake so that I wasn't shocked when I got here and suddenly just ate a bowl of rice, which I don't do back home, right?
Yeah.
So I eat more like an American, if you want to call it that. Like,
Yeah, but you were 7 when you moved to.
yeah. But honestly, if I'm home with my parents, I always enjoy the local food, like the home food, right? My mom always makes.
I have
local-
one question, if you don't mind, right?
Yeah.
When you moved to Canada when you were 7,
Yeah.
and your parents were both Asian, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And you start going to the school and everything. Do you had like difficulties to adopt this lifestyle? Do you have like any bad feelings, or I don't know, something bad happened to you, or they adopt you very easily, or you adopt yourself very easily in Canada? Because that's also happens to many people. Right now, I mean, there are many mixed marriages also, and they trying to live either in Asia or either in Western countries. And yeah, you're a perfect example, actually.
Yeah. So to answer that question, I think the most difficulties was actually before I came to Canada when I moved to the States, because when
Hold on, you were before in States? I missed that.
Yeah, remember.
I don't remember.
So I lived 3 years in Indonesia, and then I moved to Texas,
Oh, okay.
and then I lived 4 years in Texas, and then moved
Oh,
to
okay.
Canada. So
That was so many countries. That's why I
know,
missed.
it's okay. But yeah, it was more of a struggle in Texas because I didn't speak English back then. I
Okay.
only spoke Bahasa, right?
So what was your first language? What your parents teach you?
Bahasa.
Okay, not Thai, Bahasa.
No, Bahasa, yeah.
Okay.
So
Because your mom or dad was Indonesian.
my mom is
Okay,
Indonesian, right? So we spoke Bahasa at home,
Okay.
and then I learned English when I was in Texas. So that was a little bit hard, but at that age, language is like a sponge, right? You can learn
Easy.
a language very easily when you're
Easy
that
to
young.
adopt, right?
But moving to Canada, difficulties being Asian? No, like Canada, for those of you that aren't Canadian, Canada is like, we call it the melting pot, which is basically there's cultures from all
around
over the
right?
world. If you come to Canada, there's, you'll most likely find your, at least like a group of your culture, your country somewhere in Toronto, right? Like even Indonesians, there's not many Indonesians in Canada to begin with.
Not in many Indonesian.
More so like on the west coast, like towards Vancouver, because it's closer to Asia.
Yeah.
But
on the
in
other
Toronto, the Indonesian community is very small. But they're there, right? They're there. So it was very easy to transition in Canada. And the culture in Canada is very accepting of all cultures, races. So it was never really an issue. Growing up, most of my friends were Filipino, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Right? So back then, no one knew where Indonesia was. So I grew up just saying I was Filipino. So, right? Even I used to join the basketball team. Like when we were growing up, we did a basketball team, and my friends would always say, "Yeah, he's Filipino, but
Don't speak Filipino.
he doesn't speak Filipino, so it's fine." So we used to join the Filipino basketball leagues, and I would be in there because I was tall as a kid, and I just said, "I just don't speak it."
Well, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
It's cool. I also have one question because in US during the pandemic times, I heard that. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I met somebody also who told me that. This is the story of one Indonesian guy, actually. He's pure Indonesian who lived in US since small kid, similar like you. But during the COVID times, during the pandemic times, he had to he was feeling not comfortable in US due to the all of this
Sure.
pandemic stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to really like calling the names of this because YouTube probably gonna censor my video.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
You had something like this in Canada as well?
Yes.
He was thinking as that's because of you or something like that?
Not me personally, but there was in the news some, if you want to call it, discriminatory actions towards Asians.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, there was definitely in Toronto. There was, I think, even some people were killed as a result of it.
So that was global thing.
Yeah. So yeah, it did happen. It wasn't a lot, but it did stir a big movement.
But now it's no problem.
No, okay, it was just, it was there for a month and then kind of gone.
And how's the life during the pandemic in Canada, by the way?
Very strict. So Canada was one of the strictest, aside from Australia.
Yeah, Australia was the
Australia
most,
is probably the most strict, but
and
Canada and China, right? But I think Canada is probably top three.
Okay.
We were like locked down for most. We were one of the last people to unlock ourselves from the rest of the world.
Okay.
To be honest with you, they actually stopped the mask mandate for travelers literally the day before we flew here. So October 1st, 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago, was when they lifted the mask mandates in Toronto at the airport. So before October the 1st,
But on the streets and the public places?
it's still fine. But
okay.
at the airport, up until October 1st,
okay.
you still had to mandatory, even on the planes, Air Canada mandates you to wear a mask up until October the 1st. So
Okay.
we flew out October 2nd, so we were literally the day after.
And in the plane?
And in the plane, you don't have to wear it anymore at
Okay.
that time. But we still wore it, obviously.
Yeah, but in all Asia, in some countries, they required some not. It depends.
Yeah.
Who you fly, where you fly, from where you fly.
Exactly. Right. So,
That's all right.
yeah.
So it wasn't like, but you had like a very strict lockdowns because in Australia they had it like you cannot move like 5 kilometers from your home or something like that.
It wasn't that crazy. I know Australians, like,
Yeah.
if you wanted to go in, you would quarantine. Even if you're Australian national,
Yeah,
you have to, 14 days in a hotel or something?
there was many things.
It was
Well,
like
the
that.
happiest is gone already.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but Canada wasn't that strict, but it was still, I think we had one of the longest regulated like lockdowns. But I mean, in terms of like vaccination and stuff like that, we were very quick. Not as quick as the US, but I think some of us are like on the
how many was the mandatory? 2 or 3?
2, but most Canadians are at 5 now.
5? I don't even know it's possible to take a
Right?
5.
So coming into Canada, we always check the regulations, right? Like what the mandatory requirement to get into Bali was, and it was 2, and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
we're like way past that, right?
Right.
Right? And now before we had the option to even get the bivariant version of it, so the one that takes care of Omicron, but we were just worried to take it so soon, just in case we had side effects before the flight, and they wouldn't let us on the plane or something.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Seems pretty alright.
Yeah.
Here was the beach closed, you know that?
The what?
The beach were closed here in Bali
Because of
because of they closed the beach.
Oh.
Because like in Australia they have this one, in Canada you had like this one, but
Yeah.
in Bali, for instance, the beaches was closed,
Yeah.
so you were not allowed to go to the beach during the pandemic.
Oh, I see. I gotcha.
So that's why I'm asking, because I like to people whenever I'm meeting people, right, they ask me after we talking for a while, they ask me how was the pandemic situation in my country, and my country is totally different than the rest of the world because there was since the beginning they didn't really was into it. So after one of the first country in Europe, what they are just we don't really, So it was different. That's why I'm curious about the stuff like this one.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about that anymore because pretty depressing topic.
Yeah.
I already feel sad thinking about this one.
Let's look to the future.
Yeah. All right. So that was my very, very first podcast on the Monkeys channel. This is actually very funny because yesterday we hit 25,000 subscribers and now we have a podcast. So something new, That's
big congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for being my very first guest.
Hope you guys weren't bored.
Yeah. Let me know in the comments section if somebody watching till the end.
Yes, let us know.
It's about what time is it? It's about 1.5 hours, something like that. It's pretty long for the first podcast. But I hope so you wasn't too bored, guys, right? And you got bored filming this? No.
I wasn't bored. Time flew. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it or at least found some of it interesting.
Yeah, maybe it was helpful for some of you guys, especially if you're coming from Canada, US. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
36 hours. I'm still thinking about that. Unbelievable.
It's not that bad. But
Maybe I'm gonna make a title of this podcast. He flew 36 hours to come to Bali.
Yeah, that's your clickbait.
That's actually pretty. What?
That's your clickbait.
No, it's not the clickbait. That's true. I mean, the clickbait is when it's really clickbait. It's like when.
When it's something but it's not.
Yeah, exactly. You said that. It's true.
Yeah, okay.
If I'm gonna say the title is like. He came from Canada by private jet.
Oh,
that will be clickbait because you didn't, right?
I can show you my itineraries if you want proof.
Yeah, no, it's just so maybe like this one. Anyways, thank you so much, Luis.
No problem. Yeah, and if any Canadians out there want my itinerary or my how to get to Bali, just
maybe some questions. Maybe
feel free to reach out to Damien. He'll get you in touch with me, and I can definitely get you in touch with things that I've been doing or more experiences, stuff like that.
Sure, that will be actually very helpful for some of you. Anyways, thank you so much. I hope so. We're gonna get some more podcasts in the future. Let me know also in the comment section what do you think about the stuff like this one. This is very something different, and I think it's pretty alright. If you have time to watching stuff like this, you can listen only. Actually, you don't need to watch it.
No, you don't need to see us in our.
Yeah, now you can just listen that. So, anyways, thank you so much, and I hopefully. We'll see you on different podcasts very soon again. Right. Anyways, tomorrow regular vlog as always. See ya. Take care.
See ya.